We are back. That's right. We are back to the Race and Ethnic Relations on Campus podcast show. My name is Dr. B. Welcome back to our show. This is show number 27. Show number 27. It's entitled Self-Confidence, the Key to Improving Race Relations. That's right. Self-confidence, the key to improving race relations. We are back. We're officially back. We truly appreciate all of our listeners, all our supporters. Since we've been doing these shows, it's been almost we're coming up almost a year. I think doing our shows here and actually launching our shows. But this is show number 27. Self-confidence, the key to improving race relations, and this really comes to light. That's related to my class that we've taken a different direction through this semester, and this is one of the keys that often gets overlooked. And we're talking about how to improve race relations. That's really the key. After all is said and done, what are the strategies? What are the issues? And now we really honed in on self-confidence. So with that said, let me do a quick shout out to my sponsors. Let me thank my publishers, ABC Clio, for giving me the opportunity to publish my book, Race and Ethnic Relations on Campus, Understanding Empowerment and Solutions for College Students. Came out in 2018. It's still going strong. As a matter of fact, I will be going on a book tour later this summer. And looking forward to meeting all of the librarians and administrators who are really excited about my book, as well as the general public. But this is a specific conference on librarians and administrators. I also want to thank iTunes, Apple Podcasts. Thank you, iTunes, Apple Podcasts. I want to thank Spotify. I want to thank Google Play. Really appreciate Google Play. I want to thank also Player FM. Thank you, Player FM, for highlighting our podcast, as well as iHeartRadio. iHeartRadio. Yes, we are on iHeartRadio. As well as we're on YouTube, and again, and of course our first platform is Podbean. Thank you, Podbean, for showcasing our Race and Ethnic Relations on Campus podcast show. So again, that's a quick shout out to our podcast platforms and our sponsors. And this has just been a whirlwind ride in discussing a lot of these issues. And I really don't know, when I see the downloads coming, and let me just say this right up front too. If you have any comments or questions, please do not hesitate to email me at ejb678@gmail.com. That's ejb678@gmail.com. Again, I like the way after I produce these shows, the number of downloads are just quite surprising and very pleased because I know these shows are hitting different target markets, and I know this is a teachable podcast talking about some very serious issues related to race relations. And I recognize there are a lot of folks that simply are unsure of how to go down this road academically, and that's what I'm basically attempting to do in these podcast shows. And again, and this is a learning experience, learning and engaging and interactive and solution-driven podcast show. This is not a shout out. This is not a shout at one another. This is about a learning podcast show. So self-confidence, the key to improving race relations. Now let me get to the definition of race relations. I always like to go back because I'm right in the middle of my semester, and it's always to reassess where you're at. But here's one of the key elements. I try to remind students. that they are the solutions to a lot of these issues, these very tense related issues connected or associated with race relations. Let me just remind you, and I've done this in previous show, but I'm going to give you the definition of race relations. Here it is. Race relations is defined as, it refers to the ways in which people of different races and ethnic backgrounds living together in the same community behave toward one another. That's right. The ways in which people of different races and ethnic backgrounds living together in the same community behave toward one another. Now, there's been all different types, and particularly for college students, is whether you're in a dorm situation or you're immediately off campus. And how do you engage with one another? How do you interact? And it's very subtle, particularly when people have different preferences, lifestyles, and they're forced to live in these closed-in, tight communities. And how do you get along with a person you just never met before? You have their profile, and then there you go. You have to live in a confined space with X number of other college students. How do you behave towards that person who happens to be different than you? So these are very serious issues, and when you're a college student or and living in this situation for 4, 5, 6, 7, how many years? But one of the areas of which so-called researchers have identified that supports improved race relations, there are three major areas, three major issues or factors that come up. One is diversity. That is, if college students are in a diverse at a diverse college, diverse university, you have a number of different races, ethnic groups attending a college in increased numbers, then more likely you have improved race relations just by the sheer number of different folks. I'll debate that too. That's going to be another show, because again, that's the research that says that. But Dr. B disagrees with that already. I'm telling you that right now. Just having numbers of different folks doesn't mean that they're going to get along and improve race relations. It just doesn't happen. But I'll stop right there. And then research studies of researchers found that educational factors, that is, those who college-age students who have a certain level of educational achievement, they will automatically develop positive and good race relations because they've acquired knowledge. They are college-age students with going towards a bachelor's degree, and they're going to be automatically smart enough to develop or inquire and develop positive race relations, as opposed to being not inquisitive or not knowledgeable about other groups. And so there's educational factors that come into play. I disagree with that too. But there's the other factor which is extremely important, which I do agree with, which is self-confidence. Self-confidence. Now I'm sure you know how it's defined, but I always like to define these basic terms in our show. So, and I do this in my class as well. Because even though everyone knows these definitions, when you break down these definitions, it kind of surprises folks. So here's how we define self-confidence. Self-confidence, defined as how an individual perceives himself or herself on their abilities, roles, group membership, and relationship to others. Wow. Again, defined self-confidence defined as how an individual perceives himself or herself or their abilities, roles, their group membership, and relationship to others. So it's that perception about their abilities, about their roles, about their group membership, and about their relationship to others. So everyone in general has various individual self-confidence strategies. How do you build your own self-confidence? What are those strategies to for the average college student to engage, to build upon their own self-confidence? And every college student has these strategies, these daily activities that give themselves self-confidence, reassurance, abilities to accomplish their goals, daily goals, get outstanding grades, or just get through the semester or get through the week. How do you build those self-confidence? What are those self-confidence strategies? This is a very important element because we often overlook. And everyone is kind of interesting. When you slow college students down, and you can slow yourself down, you don't have to be a college student, but when you slow down, think about it. Just really think about it. Early, when you get up in the morning, and particularly as a college student, what are the strategies that you use to give yourself confidence that you can go to your class, listen to the professor, instructor, engage with the professor, instructor, engage with other students in the class, be confident that you are learning the material, you understand it, and be tested on it, and get a outstanding grade on it. Get an A. That's building self-confidence. How do you do that? Every day. So that's just academically. But how do you go to class, interact with other college students, engage with them on a regular basis, and start to have a positive relationship, friendship? Where does that confidence come from? And you got to have some type of confidence because you're in a enclosed environment. You see these people on a regular basis, every day, several times. What does the individual college student do to manage herself, or himself, their lives? Building confidence. Now, I had this exercise in my class, and my college students, they share all different types of ways in which they give themselves confidence. Just different ways to reassure that they are confident in who they are, whatever their background. Just trying different ways to engage and also build upon their self-esteem each and every day. That's very important in the college environment. How do you build upon your self-esteem when there's so many things in the college environment, college campus, that kind of pulls the individual college student apart, that challenges the individual college students not to work as hard, not to achieve as well, not to think that they are worthy enough. There are a lot of things to pull them down. But I'm more, at this point, I'm interested in what are the things that each and every college student does to pull themselves up. Those individual strategies. Like I said, I love this exercise in my class because I never know what I'm going to get. And, I'm not going to tell you what my class says, but everyone has a particular strategy. And when you give your students an opportunity to share their individual strategies with the rest of the students in the class, you hear similarities, but you find out some new strategies. Excuse me. You find out some new, unique strategies that my students have incorporated, which they recognize they have to use different strategies to keep their self-esteem up, to handle all the stresses of day in, day out college life, and excel in their classes and get the high grades that they really want. How do they manage that? Every student has a different strategy. And then when it comes down to, it's just not, now here's one of the differences that happen. There you have particularly when you're at a large institution, a mainstream institution, and there are those groups of students of color, minority students, they have to find a different way to build and maintain self-confidence because they are not in the majority. So what are those strategies? What are those individual strategies that those students have to do that are a bit different than the majority students to maintain their self-esteem, high self-esteem, self-confidence, maintain their abilities, their roles, their group membership, and their relationship to others? Sometimes, let me just say, sometimes individuals join different groups on campus. Different groups that they connect with, that they have something in common. Whatever group that may be. Group membership, student organizations are very important. That helps build self-confidence. Practically every university will say, join a student organization. But let me just tell you this: a lot of students still don't join student organizations. They have developed other strategies to build their self-confidence. Other strategies to build their self-confidence. It could be just the way you carry yourself, how you express yourself day in, day out. How you take care of yourself in the morning. Present yourself to the world. Not just going to class. And I've seen this. Now, let me just say, I've seen this. Now I'm going to put on the professor hat. I've seen this where my students now, a certain percentage, and this is in the afternoon, they'll come to class. You can see that they still have their nightwear on. That is, their pajamas. Sometimes they come to class in their pajamas. In my morning class, there's more percentage of those students coming with their pajamas on, not dressing up, not at least having entire day clothes on. They just come with their pajamas, their nightwear, their sleepy wear, whatever. They're very comfortable wear, very, very comfortable wear. And you could just tell that those students are they're there. But they're very comfortable. So it's important to feel good, dress good, and that helps build self-confidence every day. I'm just going to say, I'm not going to tell students how to dress, but it builds those subtle things, builds self-confidence. Excuse me. builds self-confidence. And when you build your self-confidence, your own individual self-confidence, guess what? That's a direct relationship for improving race relations, because you're more readily to step out of your comfort zone and meet individuals who are different than you. So building your own self-confidence is extremely important. If you have low self-confidence, guess what? You don't meet as many people, and particularly you won't meet individuals who are different than you. You simply won't do it. That's the reason why self-confidence is so important. How do you not only recognize it, but maintain it? Extremely important in improving race relations. And every student has their own particular strategy. And the importance here is to get each and every student in your class to share in an open dialogue what do they do to get themselves ready for the day and finally get to the classroom. Those are self-confidence strategies. Just to get to the classroom, whatever time it meets, morning, afternoon. What are those strategies? Share those strategies. You will be surprised what you hear. And I'm so, feel very pleased. And even 2020, I'm surprised of the different self-confidence strategies that my students have already shared. They've come a long way. And when they shared it amongst the classmates, and I looked at my other students, they are surprised themselves. They didn't hear about that or this issue or that strategy or what this person is actually doing. They just thought everyone, doing nothing. But when you start to share it in a classroom setting, particularly after we've gotten, we really fortunate gotten to know each other a lot more. Students are willing to share the different strategies that they use to improve, to keep their self-esteem, to improve their self-confidence, to feel good about themselves. And again, when you start feeling good about yourself, you're more likely to meet other people who are different than you racially and ethnically. That improves race relations. That's a positive outcome. So again, I cannot stress this enough, but self-confidence is extremely important for every student, particularly for those students of color, minority students at different universities, but every student needs to find out what are those strategies that each and every individual, himself, herself, has successfully achieved, because they've already have self-confidence because they're in college, for one thing. Hello. And many times it's just recognizing the strategies that they've already instituted themselves from high school, from middle school, high school, and now they're in college. They're just not aware of it. But when you get students to slow down and recognize the skills that they've already have, they feel very much surprised, pleased, and they start owning it. That's the greatest. They start owning their self-confidence. And they start listening more intensely to other students of how they have developed their own self-confidence strategies. So again, there's so many things that gets in the way of positive race relations, and one of the key elements in these sophisticated studies that's found, which I do agree with, that self-confidence is one area that needs further study, but it helps to improve race relations. It helps you improve how you behave towards one another, building upon your own self-confidence. It's that straightforward and simple, and that is a direct relationship. Self-confidence, direct relationship to improve race relations. So I'm going to spend, I'm going to have to spend more time in diving into self-confidence. Because as a professor for over 30 years and teaching college students, I can see those. Here it goes. Yes, I'm going there. Within the first week or two, I can tell of any class which students tend to have higher degrees of self-confidence versus those students who do not have those higher degrees of self-confidence. Within the first week or two, you can tell. I do get surprises along the way, but the first 2 weeks really telling of the self-confidence level of students, just from the instructor and the professor's standpoint. And then over the years, I've gotten so many surprises, and now in 2020, I still get surprises. It just takes a different way to bring out, to showcase for students, to showcase their self-confidence. Because everyone kind of plays it down a lot nowadays in 2020. They don't want to be too self-confident for whatever reason. But I don't know. That's another show too. Why it's not as celebrated for individuals to show and celebrate their own self-confidence. But there's a way to get it out. But in today's society, it seems that students are not feeling comfortable enough to show their self-confidence. And I can't, I'm still trying to learn about that. But during my day, of course, when you had self-confidence, you showed it immediately. You let everybody know that you're confident. Of course. But today, it's really a key element to improving race relations, and that is self-confidence. Improving your self-confidence, improving how you think of yourself, how you perceive yourself, how you perceive your abilities, your role, your group membership, and your relationship to others. That is the key. There you go. Wow. I'm feeling more self-confidence myself. I'm feeling better already. and again, and it's all of us have these strategies. That's the greatest. All of us have varying strategies of building our self-confidence. And it is truly rewarding when you hear students share it. And the light comes on, the exhilaration comes on, and they emit so much. And it's just rewarding to see how other students react to it. So it's right there. And I believe this is a great opportunity for more students to share their self-confidence and having a dialogue, having a good group dialogue and a class dialogue, and continue to have the dialogue and continue to dive into it about self-confidence. It is the direct relationship for improving race relations. There you go. This is the Race and Ethnic Relations on Campus podcast show. I am Dr. B. This is show number 27, self-confidence, the key to improving race relations. If you have any comments or questions, just email me at ejb678@gmail.com. I want to thank our sponsors. Of course, I want to thank Apple Podcasts. I want to thank Google Play, Spotify. I want to thank Player FM. I want to thank Listen Notes. Yes, I almost forgot. Listen Notes. And of course, I want to thank YouTube. Excuse me. And iHeartRadio. There you go. I think we did it. Another fun show. Self-confidence, the key to improving race relations. Let's do this, folks. Let's keep this dialogue moving forward in 2020. Peace out, folks. We out.